Hi, I'm pro saxophonist Jamie Anderson and you're watching Get Your Sax Together. On this week's show, I'm going to share a quick tip to help you sound more pro straight away, and that is by avoiding the dreaded lip bends. Welcome back to the show, guys. I'm going to start a new series of videos which is a little bit more informal, a little bit less production centered, just little old me and my saxophone sharing some little tips that are going to help you sound more pro on sax or help you improve sax in some way. Now, just before we get straight into today's tip, which could completely change how good you sound on sax, I know many of you have seen this already, but if you haven't, please make sure you go and check out my Saxophone Success Masterclass. You can use the link in the description, or you can use the URL below. It's got loads of great tips in there, loads of great advice, stuff about tone, setting up, scales, how to design a great practice routine, and loads more. So make sure you go and check out my Sax Success Masterclass. So one of the most common things I see in my students when they want to sound more pro, but they think they're sounding a bit too much like a beginner, is the dreaded lip scoop into notes. So let's explore what it is and alternative ways of avoiding it. So what is the lip bend, the lip scoop that I'm talking about? Well, it's when you're about to play a note and just at the beginning of the note, the pitch of the note scoops up to the right pitch. You're going to go from under the pitch into the pitch. But the way you do that, now this is the incorrect way you should do that, is that you use lip pressure. So you start with a slack lip pressure and then you bring up your jaw and your bottom lip up to the reed to bring the pitch of the note into that kind of wow scoop into the start of the note. Now I find it very difficult to replicate this. I used to sound like this for sure, but I haven't done it for so long, I find it quite difficult to do. Now, you might ask, why is this wrong? You know, I hear a lot of people doing it on a lot of famous solos. Well, that's a very good point. And of course, it is a very idiosyncratic sound, and it is the sound of many famous iconic solos. But if you can avoid it, in my opinion, you'll sound better. Now, the reason is that when you use lip pressure to alter the amount of reed pressure you're using, the tone changes very dramatically through that bend, and you get this sort of strident kind of wow sound into the note, which I don't find very attractive. So what are the alternatives? Well, the easiest way to break the habit is to play a grace note using the neighbor tone, a semitone beneath. So let's say we're going to scoop into A, we just quickly do a G sharp just before the A like this. So I'm just using a quick G sharp to bounce up to the A. Now, you can do this going to any note across the whole range of the instrument, of course, and you'll hear many great players do this all the time. And what it means is your embouchure doesn't change and you keep that consistent tone throughout the note. Now, the alternative to that is to bend up the note without using a grace note, but using your larynx. Now, anyone who's familiar with my Total Tone Mastery course or many of my other teachings, you'll know that I talk about the larynx a lot because I think it's really important. So you would just lower your larynx as if you're kind of in that yawning type position. Your larynx goes down. If you put your finger on your larynx and you yawn, you'll feel your larynx go down. So you would start the note like that, and then you would use your larynx to bend the note up to pitch. So let's say I'll just stick with the A example. It would sound like this. And that's got quite a different sound from the grace note effect. So that's your second option. Now, the way to practice the larynx effect is first of all to play the note in pitch, bend the note down with your larynx, and then let the pitch come back up. So that's the drill, the first part of the drill to practice using your larynx. It sounds like this. And then it's just a simple step to begin at the low part of the larynx instead of starting at the tune part like this. Then it's just a question of speeding it up. Now the third way of doing a scoop up to the note without making that slightly beginnery type noise is to combine the two. So you're going to do the grace note and you're going to use your larynx to smooth the transition. Now what this means is the grace note fingering, the fingering a semitone beneath the note, gives you that little bit of extra support. So sometimes if you bend the note down with your larynx too much, you can drop off the end of the note like this. So when you play the lower neighbour tone, that just gives the tone that little bit more support so you don't drop off the end of the note. So I think this is probably the most popular type of scoop, is the grace note, but using the larynx as well. So that sounds like this. Now, there's one little caveat with this, and that is what happens if you're going from, say, a B to a C, or if you're going from an F to an F sharp, you've got that cross fingering, so it doesn't work so well. So in that case, you would either just do the full larynx bend, or you could even do the fingering a tone beneath. So if you're doing an F sharp, you could use an E. Not quite so easy with the C. You probably either do the side key C, which isn't a great option, or you just do a larynx bend on the C. You can even do it with the cross fingering if you're expert enough. You can use your larynx to smooth the gap, but that's the only caveats about using the grace note and the larynx combined, which is your third option. So when you put that together, you can start playing, and I'll just improvise something here. You can use that to scoop into your notes and keep that nice strong tone all the way through the note without that slightly jarring bow type sound into the note. Okay, this is what it sounds like. Hopefully, if you implement this new type of bending, that's really going to make you sound a bit more pro and a bit less beginnery. Of course, it means that you have to practice bending the notes with your larynx, and there's a really good way of practicing that, which is to use your mouthpiece. But that's all in my Total Tone Mastery course, and you'll find other videos on my channel covering that. So that's it from me for this Sunday. I hope you got a bit of value out of this lesson. I'm going to do a few more of these, more bite-sized, more accessible, just a bit more informal, miniature masterclasses to help your sax playing along. Don't forget, go and check out that masterclass, packed full of excellent value, which is really going to help you no matter what standard saxophonist you are. I don't quite know what's coming up next week, but I'm going to sax up your Sunday, whatever it is. So until then, thanks for watching. By the way, if you bought me a coffee using the link in the description for Buy Me a Coffee, I really, really appreciate it. I often say it. I don't have a chance to reply to all the comments with all the email and all the other stuff I have to do. So it's just little old me here at Get Your Sax Together. But thank you so much if you've bought me a coffee. I really, really appreciate it. And you can do so using the link in the description, like I said. So until next week, practice hard, practice smart, and enjoy your music. I'll see you later.